Windows, we have returned to the old Microsoft Windows, and today we're going to be going over a tier list. Windows is something I've used since the late 80s, early 90s, and onward. I've made an entire professional career out of it over 20 years. It's the thing I'm most, even though I'm known as the Linux guy online, it's kind of laughable because everyone in my professional career knows me as the Windows Server guy. You have an Active Directory problem, DNS issues, DHCP, and it's on a Windows server. I'm the guy you call. You have problems with domain controller, your replication. I'd be the guy you call. So I know a lot about the inner workings of Windows, all the way back from 3.11 days and onward. So we're gonna do a tier list of all of the Windows, at least all the residential ones. I also kind of want to toss in some Windows Server in here and talk about it. I don't think I have like the icons for that, but we'll do that, and it'll be just a blast. I love it. But kind of a fun background, and I'll return to Windows. I'm actually going to be programming a lot in Windows, especially on these live streams coming up. But I really just wanted to get in here, look at it. What ends up happening to me with Windows is I get real bored, and also I get really aggravated with a lot of the Windows things that Microsoft kind of pushes down your throat. But you're going to kind of see the history of Windows, and maybe you'll be better understand this, and probably a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, that totally happened to me too, and you'll get a lot of the background history of Windows. If let's say you're younger, in your 20s, you're going to get understand a lot better of where someone in your 40s or 50s might be talking to you and be like, yeah, Windows being Windows. Instead of just agreeing, you might understand a little bit more of that history and why we say certain things about Windows, and why a lot of times you just get aggravated because these things shouldn't be happening in 2023. And we're like, why is this so hard for Microsoft? But anyways, we'll do the tier list and then probably get into some programming. Let's check in with chat first. I think what we'll start with, since it's still populating, people are still coming in, I don't want them to miss out on the residential side here. I think we start with like I'll just start with the Windows Server tier list. For those that are interested about Windows Server, I talked about how good a lot of Windows Server stuff was. It's kind of interesting, kind of going from like the Novell, well, probably Novell NT was back in the Windows 98 95 days, so NT and stuff would have probably been in here, and those were interesting. I didn't really have a whole lot of, I think there's a couple old boxes I messed with in 2000s when I started, but a lot of the NT and stuff were probably, I'd put in the good tier. I don't remember having too many problems with them, but I remember there was a lot of jank to them, so I wouldn't call them great or excellent, but they were okay. I really liked Windows Server 2000. Windows Server 2000 was amazing. I would have probably put that in the great or even excellent tier. I really liked Server 2003 a ton too, so I probably would have put those in the great tier. And then 2000 R2 or 2008 was based on Vista. That would have been in the great tier probably. And then there was 2008 R2, which was basically Windows 7. That was excellent. That was my favorite server distro of all time. And then 2012 came out. I would just say that was a bad one in Server 2012. They had a start screen. They put a start screen on frickin' Server. It was like, what kind of crack was Microsoft smoking during like the 2012 server era? Like, I get that they were trying something new with like residential, but throwing that on a server, I was like, what? I mean, the actual back end wasn't terrible, but it was just the fact they threw that start screen on there. Just in a server environment, I was like, they were on drugs. And then like came 2016, which honestly 2016 I put in the great tier. Same with I think it's 2019. And I haven't really messed around with 2022. I'm starting to kind of lose, and I'm a little bit out of touch with the most recent iteration of it because I haven't really been messing around with Windows Server much anymore. But I would put those, from the ones I've touched personally, in that kind of tier list from the business realm. But we'll get into the actual residential, which I've touched pretty much all of these except for Windows 1 and 2 was before my time. That was, I think, mid 80s, right? And I think that was before my time. Those two I hadn't really messed with. But let's start with, we'll go in chronological order. We'll start with Windows 3.1. I put this in the good tier. A lot of people have a lot of great fond memories of 3.1, but it really wasn't a complete operating system. It was basically a program, win.exe, that ran in DOS, and it was like DOS 6.22, I think, is if my memory serves me right. And it would run like autoexec.bat and things like that. You could start win.exe on startup, but the actual operating system was DOS with Windows on top of DOS. To an extent, you could say Windows 95 and 98 were kind of like that, but 3.1.1 was pretty polished, and it was a good program that kind of was like an operating system, you know? But it wasn't, I had some fond memories of it. I'd still remember playing like Arena, which was like Elder Scrolls 1, before they named it Elder Scrolls, really. And it was cool. And I think it's 3.1.1, I believe, was 7 floppies, if I remember correctly. There was an extended edition with some extra stuff that might have been 9 floppies, but I remember doing that. Oh man, good times though. And I enjoyed that part of that. And really, Microsoft was really evolving Windows. And then Windows 95 came out. It kind of changed the game. From an innovative standpoint, man, it really was excellent for innovation. But from a bug standpoint, it was bad. Like, there was all kinds of problems with it because it was like this bastardized version of like a half-baked DOS that kind of got tossed in there, but it wasn't. It launched into Windows. Windows was an operating system at that time, but they're kind of like it was like DOS and 3.1. It was like DOS and Windows had a baby, but it was the very first iteration of the start menu. And it did have a lot of problems, and they did try to patch some of it, but it was very hacky, I would say, as 95 was. But the innovation and how they pushed the envelope forward with it, I'm going to put it in average. It was an excellent innovation, but pretty bad implementation. Really just kind of dirty. So it was like rushed out. There wasn't much polish on 95. It was very cool though. I remember all the sounds give me just an immense amount of nostalgia. So Windows 95 I'd say is average, but was excellent for innovation. And then came 98, which was just bad. There's no 98, the plain right on release. This was a bad version, and you really couldn't patch it. It was weird because you had to reinstall 98 to second edition. So there was 98, and then there was 98 SE. 98 I don't think was on the market for like a year, and then second edition came out, and then you had to basically reinstall the operating system to SE, and you wanted to, because regular 98 was buggy and kind of a mess as well. Worse than 95 in that regard. But 98 SE, it really calmed down and started to hit its good flow, I would say, for it being Windows. So yeah, that's where I go with 98. And then like something really amazing happened in like the 2000 era. We'll get into here in a second. Millennium Edition came out. It was the absolute worst. Millennium Edition has zero redeeming qualities. It was bad on release. It just got worse from there. Every patch was more blue screens. It was just terrible. Everyone just ran out and grabbed Windows 2000 Professional, which was excellent. Remix OS is like a reverse engineered version of Windows 2000 Professional. So if you really want to see Windows Professional 2000 in modern day, download Remix OS. There's so much nostalgia there. I totally see where they're coming from. It was neat, and I love 2000 Professional. I think I had a hacked copy with a bunch of viruses on it though, so because I couldn't afford it back in those days. I think I was about 18, 19 years old, I think, in 2000. So Yeah, it was a little dicey to say the least, the version I had, but I still liked it way better than EME, even with all the shenanigans I had going on, because I downloaded a hacked version, and then I had to like clean it and get as many of the viruses off it as possible. And I did a decent job, I guess. I learned a lot about like the back end and cleaning up a lot of Windows based on that experience, which is hilarious, but I was like, I paid for ME, and it was awful. I wasn't going to pay for 2000 was my rationale. They should have just shipped 2000, and ME should have never been made. But 2000 Professional is probably one of my favorites of all time, from just a standard operating system. It was well put together, didn't have very many problems, even with viruses on it, like the version I got. It was still better than modern Windows, honestly. So past 2000, I would say XP, and everyone liked XP. It was, I think everybody has good memories of XP, but as, I would say as an operating system, it was pretty bad. Mainly because it got infected so easily. Like Security Center didn't even come out until SP2. Service Pack 2 came out for it. And while it had so many vulnerabilities that I think you just hook it up to the internet and it just get infected. It was amazing. I made a ton of money during this era because I was doing some residential computer repair during this era. It'd be not uncommon for me to clean or clear $1,000 a day just in computer repairs, removing viruses. I could repair, 5-6 computers in a day at 250 a pop, and yeah, easily clear $1,000. And that was Windows XP. It was just the virus magnet. Everyone has good memories of it, but man, it was not a good operating system. They tried to fix it up with some of the band-aids they stuck on it towards SP2 and SP3, but it was not a good operating system at all. And I think it was just the bastardization of 2000 and ME and those teams kind of getting consolidated, because at that time with these, there was a business side and then there's a residential side, and they combined those teams to make XP. So that's why I think it was the way it was. It was like, took a lot of the design elements and features of 2000 that was good, and then they took all the crap that was bad and just kind of made this weird child, and then Windows XP, I'd say. That's kind of where I'm at with that. I still say it was not great. Next up's going to be Vista. Now, a lot of people would just thrust Vista right here in the absolute worst, because on released, Vista was awful because everything was going to 64-bit from 32-bit. There was tons of compatibility issues. There was a huge amount of demand going from XP to Vista. The upgrade path was so different. So anybody with older computers trying to run the new Vista, it just ran like crap. And so many people upgraded and had just an awful experience because Vista was so much more demanding. Not to mention the compatibility issues with 64-bit. However, it was actually pretty good at the end of it. I would put it right there at the end of its release cycle. I want to say it went up to 3 service packs like XP. Maybe it was only 2 service packs. I can't remember exactly. But after Service Pack 2, around 2007, 2008, Vista was actually in a really good spot. It worked pretty well. Didn't really have too much things. There were still the gimmicky like widgets on the side that kind of sucked. But overall, it was a solid OS once patched, once having the proper hardware, and once all the software caught up to it and made that 64-bit work properly. It was really good. Now, me personally, during this era, they released an XP Professional 64-bit that you could, tweak out a little bit and get all those benefits even at that era. And that was amazing performance. And you could get just ridiculous performance using a 64-bit version of XP Pro, I believe, at the time. Service Pack 3. And it was, wow. It's kind of amazing. It was kind of amazing at that time, but it was still the virus magnet of the world because there was just so many back doors at that time. that these things were just, and even today, SMB is a pretty crappy protocol, much more secure than it was back in these days. But that kind of brought out probably one of the worst was Windows 7 when it came to security around the 2017, 2018 era. Now, most people would put Windows 7 at the excellent tier. I wouldn't. I would put it at the great tier. Windows 7 was like basically a reskin version of Vista, stripping out the widgets. Not a whole lot changed between Vista and 7, and it was just more of a polished product. I liked 7, and I loved it on release all the way up until probably Windows 10. I mean, it was a good operating system. It did, however, do a poor job with Windows Update cleanup. That's why I couldn't put it up here, because the Windows updates just got so ridiculous towards the end of its life that it was not uncommon to see a 40 gig Windows folder. And 40 gigs doesn't sound like a lot these days, but back then it sure as hell was. And that's where I'm kind of like, Windows 7 is fine. And then when you look at the major downfalls of Windows 7, when I was like, hey, everyone has to switch to Windows 10 and Windows 7 is just pushed out, was when the NSA tools got leaked. Now, if you're not familiar with this, it's a really good history lesson of how Microsoft's worked with many various governments around the world and have built-in backdoors into Windows. And these backdoors weren't highly publicized. Most people kind of knew they existed, but not something we really worried about too much until the actual NSA tools got leaked in 2017 or 2018. I think it was like Blue Ocean. I can't remember. What was the name of that? Blue Ocean hack. What was that? No, it wasn't Blue Ocean. I can't remember the name of it. I just remember WannaCry was part of that hack. If we look at the wiki, I'm sure it'll say what it was. It was developed using the NSA tools that were leaked. Eternal Blue. Blue Ocean, Eternal Blue. That's right. So Eternal Blue was the backdoor that was being used to basically get a hold of any Windows system that wasn't patched post the 2017. And I want to say when this broke, it was a 0-day, which, it took about a week or so to get it, but it would exploit and bypass all antivirus and encrypt everybody's files, and then people would get blackmailed like this with Windows 7. And they patched that a little bit, but it's still such an insecure operating system, and with those backdoors associated with it and how widely publicized those backdoors were with the spawning of all these ransomwares attacks, Windows 7 really, anytime after I'd say 2017, it's just only fools run Windows 7, or people that are just really lazy, like lazy IT departments or hamstringed IT departments that can't upgrade their systems. Whenever I see it in like a hospital or some kind of line of business where it's like Windows 7, I'm like, oof, talk about a massive security risk, even patched, when I would not trust Windows 7 at all. And to see it, in 2020 and beyond is just maddening to me. Yeah, I mean, in like Eternal Blue would give you an NT administrative shell. It was insane. It was like the worst. It was the worst, most egregious hack, I think, in modern history, because it was just so widespread and everyone was using Windows 7. So while Windows 7 initially gets a really excellent score, it aged extremely poorly. It just really poorly. So a lot of people love to look back and go, remember the good times of Windows 7. But at that time, Windows 10... Oh, wait, we can't skip out of... we're about to skip right over Windows 8. I guess we always forget about Windows 8. It had like 7%. I think it got up to like 10 or 15% market share at one point. Windows 8 was... I can't put it at the absolute worst. Nothing will ever be worse than ME. But Windows 8 was bad. It was just really bad. I'm going to put XP at actually average. I'm going to give it a little bit of a boost here. I would put Windows 8 at bad. The initial release was not necessarily buggy. They were trying a lot of new stuff with like the start screen, which I already railed about with like they put that same start screen on Server 2012. Like, what? WTF, man. And it was just awful from that perspective. But the actual operating system itself was somewhat solid. It just, that start screen really took it away from me, and they started to incorporate the Microsoft Store, was born in the Windows 8 era. So it puts them in the bad realm, because they never really did let go of the Microsoft Store, and they just kind of played it up with more recent versions. 8.1, I'll put just a little bit above it. They made an option to where it can be a start menu again, not a start screen. And it was better, but it was still nothing I installed. Like Windows 8, I don't think I ever installed it on purpose. I think there's a couple times where they like forced a Windows 7 to 8 upgrade on some systems, and I was just like, yeah, let's just go back to 7, wipe this one out, and move on. But I used 8 a little bit, much like most people, but they were not good releases. Even 8.1, which is kind of funny, because I'd say 8.1 or 8, I would say both was really funny, because AMD graphics drivers only supported them for like 3 or 4 years. I want to say in 2017 or 2018, they just stopped supporting AMD graphics cards, any recent releases in Windows 8. They were just like, nah, nobody uses that crap. So it was probably one of the lowest lifespans of a Windows system, which is kind of funny. Where's NT on this list? I'd put NT up here in the great category. I put NT right along Windows 98 SE. NT, I remember, I don't have a lot of experience with NT. I've installed it a couple times for some various business clients for compatibility and redundancy, but I didn't really I never lived in it. So but I mean, from what I did, I would probably put it in the great category. I didn't have any problems with it, to say the least. Oh, and now we get to the modern Windows. This is interesting because the modern Windows, especially Windows 10, I would say it started out excellent. Like when you look back at Windows 10, it started out pretty darn good, all the way to 1703, and then it just dropped precipitously. It was just like 1803 dropped this thing like I think it was storage sense is what they added, and it started deleting people's files. They started bloating up and causing a lot of redundancy issues with the Microsoft Store, which also caused many issues. Like when you go into your services, like let's just go to like services.msc, MSC. You go into here and there's a lot of stuff in here when you look, and like this connected, they started adding this crap, and oh well, this one actually did stop. Oops. Oh, let's see. There's a bunch of services that were added though. Web threat, does that stop? Oh, well then, I was gonna show it, and this works too. Oh, maybe they fixed it. Okay. Windows Phone over IP. It used to be most Microsoft apps. Clipboard user service did this. Sync host. Okay. Well, it used to be right when it was released, a lot of the Microsoft apps that spawned services in your services.msc, you couldn't really adjust them through the traditional services panel because a lot of times they'd just be locked down and there was no changing them. Like all this, when you see these digits on the end of them, usually that was something that got added through the Microsoft Store, and it was hard to control a lot of that. However, a lot of that has changed in recent bit. Like what is MPSM? Interesting. But that's when things changed. I'd say in Windows 10, 1803, 1809 and past, they started really implementing a lot of the Microsoft Store directly in to the system and making it to where a lot of the traditional ways we maintain or monitor the system different. And I really didn't like it. And they still are, I guess, backfilling some of those issues because services used to not work at all for a lot of those spawn services, and now they do, apparently. So I got to look into those and see those changes in the recent version of Windows 11, which, what version am I on? I'm still on 22H2 on Windows 11. Okay. But yeah, Ugh. So Windows 10 1703 Creators Update stripped down was an amazing experience. Once Storage Sense and a lot of the modern things that are associated with like the Microsoft Store, which is that even in here? Let's see. I don't think. I can't remember if it's signed in at all. I might have also broke it. I have a tendency to do that. No, I am signed in. But once they really started pushing Microsoft Store a bit more, that caused a lot of havoc. And I think they're still sorting out kind of the disaster of that integration from 1803 and onwards from Windows 10. Windows 11, honestly, is almost the same as Windows 10. I would actually put it a little bit below Windows 10, just because I've had more issues with Windows 11, and its quality control seems to be worse, even though from a graphics point of view, like the start menu, the notifications, I would put that at great. I actually like the look and feel of Windows 11 better, and the standardization behind, if we look at, oh hell, let's go to settings. Just look at this. This is much more standardized, where there was this really janky Metro UI from Windows 10. It's just still too buggy, and it feels like it's getting worse as more patches come through Windows 11. So in business, I still lean towards using Windows 10, and Windows 11 is still kind of moving around in this tier list. Like when it first launched, I was like, I don't mind this so much once you bypass like maybe TPM or some other artificial requirements from it. But overall, I liked the look and feel of it for the most part. I thought it was, even at release, almost a little bit better than Windows 10 in some instances. Once you got over, like AMD chips performing worse. There was a couple other weird launches, as Microsoft has. But once it settled down after 6 months to a year, Windows 11 was actually probably great. And then subsequent patches kind of pushed it down into the average realm, because the quality control hasn't been there for Windows 11. So looking at this is kind of what I'm thinking from a tier list. Let's drop it on chat and see what y'all think, because here, let's just do that. What are your guys' thoughts on this tier list? Did I get anything wrong here? Because I'm kind of like, some of these I could move around, but I kind of feel like that's about the tier list I would push. To me, XP is S tier. Oh man, I think from a process standpoint, XP could be in the S tier. It ran, debloated down with services and stuff. You could get XP around 10 processes running. So XP was very lightweight from one of the Windows releases. Probably one of the lightest weight Windows releases, which also caused a lot of problems with Vista, because Vista's was so much more heavy than Windows XP was. So that's kind of why you'd put it up there from an IT perspective, or professional that knows what he's doing, knows what not to click on. XP could be in the excellent tier. I could see that. I could see you pushing it up here if you absolutely knew everything there is to know, and you could keep your system clean. XP was great in that regard, but for the average user, I'd just put it in the average tier. There was a lot that was wrong with it, especially from a security standpoint. I mean, heck, you can still use offline password changer to break into Windows, which is kind of stupid. Like, that should not be a thing in 2023. If you ever need to crack a Windows, you can just go offline into password changer tool, probably. I remember it was like a blue site. Yeah. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. So if you go offline NT password registry editor, you can actually load up the SAM file. This works all the way through Windows 10, Windows 11, and it will literally change that. So let's say you need to break into a system, you can load this sucker up, and you might be thinking, wait, Titus, I use the Microsoft account to log into my system. This won't work. Cool little hack here is you can enable the admin user using this, and then just set no password, and then when it gets to logging in, you just change it to administrator with no password, hit enter, and then you got access to the full system. The fact this thing still works, and it was built for NT 3.5, which is kind of nuts, all the way to present day, it kind of blows my mind that they haven't changed it enough. The last release was in 2014 and it still works. Like, why is that? Like, how is that a thing? That's like when people say that Windows is secure. I'm like, okay, I know everyone thinks I'm just like this giant Linux fanboy, but I mean, this right here, I mean, come on, secure? You're killing me now. I mean, that is like a script kiddie with 5 minutes of thing could read this and figure out how to get into a Windows system with nothing but physical access. And it's been that way for 15 years. Or I don't know. I don't know when the first version of this was. I remember using it during the Windows XP era because customers would lose their password and I would be like, don't worry about it. I can just get in and change it. So it's the fact that this is still a thing and it still works kind of blows my mind. Yeah, and that's the security aspect of Windows. So anytime I ever hear someone like, hey, Windows is more secure than Mac or Linux, I'm like, all right, this person obviously doesn't know anything about anything. And I mean, I think it was Mark Twain that said you can't beat a stupid person in an argument. They're just going to drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. That's what it is to me when anyone says Windows is secure. I'm like, all right, they're obviously got some mental issues there, and there's no way to chorus or show them any kind of factual evidence to be like, all right, well, gotcha. They would look at that and be like, well, not everybody can use the offline, and they would find some kind of excuse. It's best just to smile and nod your head and be like, all right, yep, Windows is the most secure, you got me. Yeah, I am surprised that it isn't more locked down. Like, this should have been fixed, and it makes you wonder, why hasn't it been fixed? That's the thing that kind of blows my mind. And I think you could say some of that for Linux. If there was like an unsecured grub bootloader, you could take that grub bootloader and then do like an E and then init bin bash and push yourself to a bash prompt and change the root password. But that's if the person, 1, doesn't have an encrypted drive, 2, allows grub bootloader to not actually show the menu. On any secure system, that should be a 0 timeout with no editing possible, and a hidden menu, or they're just using system D. But there's so many different ways to secure down Linux. Now, Linux, a lot of Linux distributions aren't secure by default. I've talked on that. There's a lot of arguments there, but if you want to secure Linux, you can. If you want to secure Windows, it's like, shit. I mean, we're never gonna get there. It's like like anybody doing security researching and those types of things knows that it's not something that's really achieved. You can't really achieve that level of standard of being secure in Windows, but you can at least make it harder. It's just, man, I just don't know why they make it so hard. What is the best version of Windows you suggest for today for a desktop user? Probably Windows 10. I think Windows 10 is probably your best bet for most people out there. Windows CE. What is that, Compact Edition? Well, there's also, or was that the Windows 8 Microsoft Store only version? There was also the Windows on your phone that you could also, that was also kind of a CE version. Let me see, which one was, because there's Windows SE and then there's Windows CE. Let's see. I think CE was Embedded Compact. When was that? Okay, yeah. Embedded Compact, that was the closed source version with a different kernel that no one used. There was also Windows RT. That's the one I'm thinking of too. That was the same, but you couldn't install regular programs on it because it was using a different kernel and it was on an ARM platform. It's kind of interesting. What was the Windows Phone called? Which one did it run on? I always liked the Windows Phone. Surprisingly, this was probably one of my... I liked this better than Android and iOS. If they didn't completely screw up the licensing, I thought the tiles, the live tiles, and a lot of the apps and the feel of the phone was actually better than Android and Apple. It was just poorly mismanaged. I thought from a technical point of view and how it looked and felt, I literally think Windows Phone was the superior operating system from Android and iOS. I know y'all think I'm just bonkers here, but I actually really enjoyed it more than the modern phone. Yeah, from Windows Mobile. I know that's wild. Totally. It's because I'm weird. Maybe it's just because I like to be different. But the integration with like Xbox and some of the initial phones, like you could get gamer score on your phone, and I thought that integration was kind of cool too. And some of the games weren't half bad on there. I remember playing some. But and the music on it was pretty cool. I liked Zune too. Talk about discontinued Microsoft products. I liked the Windows Phone and I liked Zune. I thought Zune was way better, like light years better than the iPod. Another thing that I was like, man, these things were actually really good, and they should have been the market leader, in my opinion. I don't know. Yeah. Which is sad. It's just so sad because there was so much potential here and with Zune. Oh man. Let me look up Zune. I just get some nostalgia on that. I miss the old school MP3 players. So Zune was out. It was discontinued in 2012. But man, that was the best media player, I thought. It was way better than the iPod. And yeah. That was a sad day when that went the way of the dodo. But I mean, those are two things to give Microsoft props on that I thought were really good. That was not bad. It was not bad at all. I'm still using a Windows Phone. Oh man, I'm sorry. That sucks. Oh yeah, iPhone killed Zune. I think just modern, like no one's gonna carry an MP3 player and a phone around except for maybe me. I would totally be that guy that still has an MP3 player. But yeah, it's just everyone's like, I'm just going to carry a phone. Much like digital cameras probably also kind of took a huge hit from the advent of the cell phone, modern cell phone. So yeah, I get it. But I mean, I would say even the audio files out there using the MP3 players, I think there's going to be a huge swing back from the services. Like Spotify is really good. I use YouTube Music on occasion just because I've got a YouTube Premium membership. And I just look at YouTube Music and I'm like, this thing kind of sucks. It's not very good. I use it mainly just so I'm familiar with it, and its podcasting features are trying to like blend in, which is awful. You should just use like Google Podcasts, I guess, if you're an Android user. And I don't know. I don't think they have. I mean, Google, I think is just not doing a great job with YouTube Music, and Spotify, I could see them expanding that out and kind of ruining the service eventually, to where I think we're going to get like a pullback where we'll actually have people with a huge amount of like MP3s and creating their own playlists again. I just don't see the streaming services. I don't know. Maybe it's just my wishful thinking, but I kind of feel like we're heading into a spot where people are just starting to get fed up. Like the old meme of, Pirate Bay and those types of things, like back when, we were like, hey, before Netflix and all that, everyone just pirated movies for that tidbit, and then everybody's like, oh, Netflix is out, and then all of a sudden now everyone has a streaming service. You're like, dude, this is gonna be like $100-something a month getting all these streaming services. You got like Paramount Plus and Netflix and all these other ones everywhere. I mean, it's just easier to pirate the stuff now. So it's like, hello, old friend, and you go back in time a little bit. But honestly, I don't know, should I say this? Screw it, I'm gonna just say it anyways. If you're doing it, don't use torrents. News groups with sonar and radar, chef's kiss. News groups are still like absolutely amazing. You can use that and really leverage the hell out and get anything you want. Every TV show, every single movie, it's all just amazing. So yeah. Oh man, Napster. Oh my gosh, back before Metallica ruined it all. Yeah, I think open source is definitely some of the future, to say the least. Yeah, radar and sonar. I knew there was a man of culture in the audience. Absolutely life-changing projects, all open source too. Did you hear about China switching to Linux? I mean, I can totally see that. Because China has to know that Microsoft put backdoors for like the NSA, and we have like free reign. Any government out there that's using Windows, I mean, they have to be pretty comfortable with all of our intelligence agencies knowing every bit that's on those computers if they have an online connection. They can't be that dumb not to know that there's backdoors built into Windows. Like, I don't think anybody, after the 2018 and it being pretty common knowledge with Eternal Blue and the NSA tools and the backdoors that were already established in Windows 7 era, nobody's dumb enough to think that there's not backdoors in Windows 10 and Windows 11. Like, that's, like, obviously, if the NSA or FBI wants to know what's on your computer and you're connected to the internet and you're using Windows, they're gonna know. I mean, regardless if you're got a special version of Windows or not, those backdoors are there. Yeah. I think a lot of people still use a lot of these Microsoft products. A lot of the telemetry I can turn off, but you got to realize these projects and like the NT kernel itself is so massive. There's backdoors there. There's probably backdoors in some of the, even when you look at like the Linux kernel, it's so massive. There's probably a backdoor somewhere in there. I just, it's such a huge project. Millions of lines of code that you got to pour through, and some of it we don't know about. So, I mean, if I had to speculate, I would say definitely for sure in Windows, probably in Linux too, to some degree. I just don't know what that looks like. And, I think when it comes to hacking, I always take the mindset is no one's secure. If you're online, if there's a will, there's a way. It's like, it's left up to the skills in how smart that hacker can be. And if you take someone extremely talented and they have a drive or a purpose to hack into a system, I think give them enough time, they'll find a way. I truly believe, and that's almost anything with just humans in general, the way our brains work and how we're able to conquer almost any issue. Hacking is definitely in one of those, and you can get through almost any obstacle, I would say. Yeah, there's no way to make a super secure system unless you're offline. That's the trick. I think if you had a completely closed system and it can be completely offline, it's possible to obviously just physically bar that from having access to anything. Then it's possible. And if you're really trying to be more secure and private, something like Qubes OS, I think, is a really good way of doing it. Like, Qubes does a great job with compartmentalization and understanding that. Yeah, never upset a hacker. That's like when I was making fun of Parrot and Callie. I was like, I don't want to dwell on this. Let's move on. Because, yeah, making fun of hacking or hacking groups is like the dumbest thing you could ever do. Whenever I see a business do that, I'm like, oh, you idiot. You don't know what you've done. Because, like, what is it, Kevin Mitnick and just social engineering by itself, people are dumb and they can be manipulated, and that's going to always be your weakest link in every security and when you're analyzing security on any system. It's always the end user you have to worry the most about, because end users end up doing really stupid things. It's probably why I don't like hiring anybody, especially for like what I do here, is because I really hate managing people. That's one thing that you have to be pretty skilled to manage people, and people do just stupid things, and you're just like, oh, really? Don't upset the script kiddies. Yeah, I'm like, it's probably not that big a deal. Name your Wi-Fi. You can't hack this. I think I named my Wi-Fi at one point. virus cache or something like that. You know, herpes. I don't know. I think that's the best uh virus name you can think of. Virus emitter. Yeah. It's awesome. FBI van was a good one. Yeah. Oh, so good. Cobalt Strike. Oh boy. All right. Well, let's see. So we've done the tier list. This is the final shot. I feel pretty good about this. That's pretty much my tier list for Windows. I'm curious to see where this goes in the future. I mean, it's just always a moving target, especially with the more modern ones. This could move up, it could move down. This could move up, it could move down. It just depends on what they're doing. These are still moving targets, in my opinion. The rest of these, I think they're pretty much set in stone for where I'd place them. So we'll see where that goes. Vista over XP is a bit of a crime, but I approve. Yeah, I could totally see that. Yeah, I never thought. I mean, we're talking about Windows versions, though. I'd say Windows 2000 was probably the best version end to end. Like at the start of it, it was pretty solid. At the end of it, it was pretty solid. It didn't really change much. Like Windows 7 started off really strong and then just slowly kind of lost steam and became worse and worse and worse as time went on and patches came in. Windows 98 SE never really had the excellent mark, but it never really dropped. It was probably the most steady. 3.11 was interesting. It was like improving all of 1 and 2 to 3. And 3.11 never really gave me any problems. I don't remember getting like a BSOD or any of that on 3.11 that I can remember in modern times. I was on 3.11 for 3 or 4 years as a kid. I was like a teenager at that time, I think. And I kind of liked it. I'd say there was not too much about 3.11 I didn't enjoy. But NT wasn't in here. Yeah, I would have added NT. We could have tossed like Bob in there. I would have loved to add all the Windows servers, which I kind of overviewed at the start of the stream, because I loved a lot of the Windows servers. Spoiler, Windows Server 2008 R2 would have made it my excellent tier. Man, talk about a value. 2008 R2 with app streaming, with all the stuff that was baked in there. It was just such a great server version. It's probably the best ever made. So solid. And I loved 2008 R2. It was just by far my favorite of all. And honestly, if I had to run one, 2008 R2, I would run it honestly as a gaming machine too. I mean, it was just overall just an amazing box. And I liked it a lot better. As Windows 7 kind of got worse, 2008 R2 didn't get a lot of the telemetry but patches and crap that 7 did. And 2008 R2 was still a really rock solid distro. Ugh. Yeah, it just was. Yeah, UAC was a band-aid from the XP. Or no, that was Vista. Vista was UAC, I want to say. Security Center was XP. Where would you place AI-based Windows 12? Absolute worst, man. Can you imagine how much more bloated Windows will be with it constantly pinging the internet, sending information back and forth with AI? Gosh, the data collection alone is going to just tank performance. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, but we'll see where they go with OpenAI, because I want to say, do I have GPT still on here? Oh, I do. I need to log into that. Oh, MS Teams, Microsoft Teams. Crazy thing about Microsoft Teams, like if we look at, I don't even remember, what do I have on this system? Let's look through. If we look at Microsoft Teams, no, I don't have it in here, but Microsoft Teams has like a standalone version that's done with just like a binary install, and then it has like the Microsoft Store version that's installed through that. So in some instances, you can have both versions of Microsoft Teams installed on the same system. And it's just maddening to me. I'm like, what? Yeah, I could see the 2012 servers. A lot of people, I think, were using like OpenShell on the 2012 servers just to get out of the start screen. I remember doing that a couple times, if I was in the server very much. Every professional version after 2000 was worse. I'd say so, but a pretty long shot. 7 Pro, Vista Pro, XP Pro, 10 Pro, 8 Pro. Yeah, I think these stick. I don't think there's any changes between Home and Pro version here. Because 2000 Pro is completely different than these versions of Pro. They had some kind of limited... Because it became more of a universal product. Like 2000 Pro is the last time that the business teams were separated before they merged them together during the XP era. And Windows has never been the same since that merge. Once they merged ME and 2000 kernel teams, everything from XP and onward has been an inferior product. It's just been worse from a reliability, security standpoint, all the above. So yeah, I would say 2000 Pro is above all of them, both other professional versions and home versions. Yeah, they want to do the vendor lock-in with the Microsoft Store using like AppX packages, and how that's managed is just jank. And how I get why they do that, but it's not done in a way where developers aren't going to be like, hey, I can't wait to release my Microsoft app. Developers are going to be like, ah, crap, do we have to release that Microsoft app? Maybe we can just release something to toss it on the store and then maybe redirect to ours. That seems better. Because I want to say Microsoft takes a cut of that payment as well. Because they wanted to get in what the whole purpose of the Microsoft Store. For those that don't know why 8, 10, 11, all these are down here, most of that is the Microsoft Store doing. So if we pull up the store, this thing is created with one purpose in mind. It wasn't to like, hey, let me install some apps or whatever it might be. Now let's look at my library anyways. I'm kind of interested. Let's install these apps and make it easy to update stuff. The whole purpose of this was to get lock-in, and they wanted a piece of the pie of much like how Apple does it with their App Store or Android, because Google takes a big chunk of all that revenue that would pay. So if you pay $10 to install this, then they would get $2 or $3 of that, 20-30%. And they were like, well, we should just do that on Windows, and then we can just take a huge piece of that pie and everyone will release a Microsoft Store app, and then the developers will get less money. But what ended up happening was a lot of times the developers just charge the same amount or even more money on the store and then say, hey, you should probably just go buy it from our site. And that's why it's kind of like this tacked on convoluted mess. That was the vision from Microsoft, is saying, hey, we want to be part of this market. We want to have that 20%, 30% cut, but there's no appeal to it. There's no reason for a developer to do that. They'd be like, hey, I guess I don't like money and I like giving Microsoft money, then I'm going to create a Microsoft Store app. But it's way easier just to do the app yourself, release it yourself, install it on Windows, and then you get all of the pie. Why would you want to share that with Microsoft? So that was the big problem, but that's what Microsoft was trying to do with the store. You could see that's why Steam was starting to heavily do a lot of Linux stuff. Was they saw the writing on the wall. They're like, oh my God, Microsoft executes on this store, we're screwed. That's our store's model. Luckily for Steam, Microsoft's just really incompetent in some areas, and kind of everyone saw right through it. Yeah. So that's kind of where this is. I mean, that's all I have to really say about the tier list. I think that's pretty good. I'm going to load up the old programming here for this. What am I got here? I think we got... Oh, this is my website. Let's open a folder. Let's go win one shot. I still have to finish this program, which we had Teams and some other stuff here. This is the C# program that I was building to just rip everything out manually using .NET. I kind of wanted to go this route instead of just using PowerShell, and this is kind of a fun one we were doing. I want to say, let's look at our GitHub too, because I haven't checked the GitHub in a while. One second, let me log in here, man. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the news of the day between Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard. What do y'all think of that? That just popped up. It's like, oh crap. Oh, I do remember the Microsoft CEO saying he hates console exclusives. So we got that going for us. Hey, there we go. Sweet. You're gonna have more games in the Xbox service pass that you can't use. Oh, that's true. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on my GitHub. Let's start cleaning up some stuff. DWM Titus. Oh, I need to go through that patch. That was an hour ago. And oh, that guy added a few things. I'll have to go through it. I'll do that when I'm in Linux. Remove edge. We got a couple things. What happened here? Oh, that was going to the main branch. Huh. Yeah, that was just using... I hate it when people try to link to their GitHub stuff. Like, they'll link to their GitHub with a bat file. I'm like, no. Like, you submit the bat file. I'm not gonna link to a bunch of things I can't follow. Ugh. So probably remove that. It's always weird. That's one thing I learned as I got more into open source and understanding it, is a lot of the submissions you get are kind of like not great. This one, what was he trying to do here? No, I think I fixed this in a different one. Or actually, I think that was my win one shot. I actually fixed that. I'm gonna have to bring in some of that back into there. Oh, the Halls of Torment from Vampire Survivors. Yeah, I wanted to get that. I saw it was on sale on Steam for like $5. Vampire Survivors was amazing. I enjoyed it immensely. Let's just close those. Got 85 notifications. How long ago did I do this? Good night. How far behind am I? Oh, it's been since summertime when the kids got out, I think. I'm so terrible. Oh my gosh. What was that? Oh, no, I did comment back to that. Yeah, I think it was like June. Still. 100 notifications sitting in there. Yikes, I got too many repositories. Let's clean up my repos, actually. Now that I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay. Probably need to go through my repos and go, which ones do I use? Which ones do I want to update? Which ones do I want to get rid of? And kind of downsize some of this stuff. Because some of this I'm like, I don't want to ever do another commit to again. NT Lite config files. Probably need to redo those. Yeah, that was from here, but I don't want to continually update these. I'm going to archive this. Because I really don't use these config files, and probably nothing I really want to mess with. So let's archive this guy, get it out of here. We'll just archive. A lot of my NT Lite stuff I like to manually do as well. It was a neat thing, and the official links there. I just wouldn't use mine if you want the NT Lite repos. Let's just go back. Yeah, the end of Fedora Titus probably as well. What's this Titus in Vim? I don't remember this. What was I doing here? I probably need to redo my entire NVim because I did want to change a few things. Oh, okay. This looks relatively old. I think this one I'll delete. I don't think I remembered. Oh, Astro user config. That's right. I was trying Astro NVim for a bit there. It was okay, but I kind of went back to my original NVim. I gotta tear it down and redo all that. Let's just delete the... We'll archive it. Let's just rename it. Astro NVim. Let's just rename that one so I know what it is. If I ever come back to Astro, I can pull those up. Because you throw these in your regular one and you get all the LSPs from Astro NVim. It's an interesting idea. I just didn't execute it the way I wanted it to. I keep forgetting. Where is that? Yeah, let's see. Win one shot. That's my private repo, though. Titus Pi, I'm still doing that. Every year I try and do an update to Titus Pi. I did one earlier this year and switched it over to like a KDE version. Block Razor, IT Pro scripts. I think this was a fork I took that was really... If any IT pros are in the audience, this is super neat. There is, I want to say, a management script in here I was using. Let's go. No, it might have been deployment, but I used it to remove all of offices. Yeah, this is it. Remove previous versions of Office. So it's VBS scripts that just go through and scrubs the entire system of all Microsoft Office instances. Really, really clutch. Like, this could save you days of time. If you have a bunch of users and just a crap ton of systems you need to clean out, grab the VBS script from here. You might need to update it a few times, but I'm sure it works just fine. And it just scrubs the entire system of all your Office instances. Oh my gosh, I can't remember what happened. I think it was a bad update, and I had to do 30 systems or something. And I was like, no, I'm going to just script this. And I ended up finding this removal. And, oh, chef's kiss. So good. So I'm going to keep that just so I have it. There's times where you're just like, I need that one script. Why do I need to make like a hotkey to get back here. All right. Secure Linux. Oh man, I need to update that for actually securing Linux down. Yeah, I think there was also, it does strip out all the different languages too. So I honestly, personally, if you're going to do an Office install, wipe out everything that's on the system itself. Never try to do an in-place upgrade of an existing Office. Always ends up bloating up if it works okay. Sometimes it just doesn't work at all because you might have a different license. Like, let's say it's like an E3 license and you need a different, it can just get really convoluted. So it's best to wipe out all the existing Office before doing it and installing it yourself. I highly recommend that. So I do need to update that. Hyperlens COPR. Why did I fork this? Oh, I didn't need to fork this. I don't develop for Hyperland, and that's like old at this point. Let's delete that. I must have just been, let's fork it. Yeah, yeah, okay. Can we just copy it? Oh, fine. Yeah, let's see. What else we got in here? 40-year-old fitness. Yeah, I actually changed this around. I need to probably do an update on my fitness channel. It's been a while. I don't really use that. Let's delete this. I think it was a Hugo website I had. Great idea, but not my cup of tea. I'd probably need to do an update. I'll continue doing update videos on it. All right, successfully deleted. My Vim. We can archive this. I use only NeoVim these days. This is back when I was just starting out with Vim, and I really don't use anything in here. What was I using back then? Yeah, there's still a couple things from like my original prior to NeoVim days I miss, like Undo Tree. I probably need to relook at. Almost everything else, there's just better alternatives in NeoVim. I don't see. Kind of miss. No, not Fuzzy Finder. Like Telescope does a better job. So yeah, let's archive my Vim. I just use NeoVim these days, just for archive purposes of the pure Vim script config when I started. So I think that's good. Commit those changes. Should probably link to my other repo as well, because NeoVim, I do use that repo often. It's kind of a mess right now. I need to clean it up. Which, do we have NeoVim over here? Let's see. Oh, that's right. I was trying LazyVim over here. I really wanted LazyVim to work well for me, but I kind of moved on from it. We'll see. We'll see what I end up doing with that. All right, moving on. Yeah, we could update those to PowerScript from VBScript on the Office uninstalls. I'll probably do that at some point in time. Archmatic. Oh my gosh. Did I even do anything with that? I can't remember. PyShrink. Oh man. OpenCore. This is back like in the Tiger days. I think that was using... oh man, I can't remember exactly what I was using that on. But that was my OpenCore configuration. Settings... I probably could... No, someone might need my configs for this. Let's not delete it. Let's just archive it. I kind of wanted to get it out of there, but if it helps somebody. Intel i90 RX 5080. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, I need to put up some kind of links and stuff, but let's see what else we got. Is there a way to hide the archives? I need to look at that. Filter. All right. Yeah, Hackintosh is kind of dying out. I mean, to be expected though. Wallpaper Reddit. Oh my gosh, I remember doing this. If you're a Linux user, I'd say probably just do Variety instead of Wallpaper Reddit. Although Wallpaper Reddit was kind of interesting. I could probably do this. I kind of like this project. I want to say this was... Oh, I forked it. This is back when I was using a Mac. and I remember I had to rewrite the script because how Macs interface with like wallpapers was like maddening, because like there's this massive shift between like Snow Leopard and, oh god, I can't remember exactly, but I remember them changing a bunch of stuff. What was this? Install. So yeah, installing on Mac was weird because I had to change a whole bunch of stuff. And depending on where it was, like using Tasker. Mac, sometimes some of the Mac solutions are so hacky. And this was the iteration in there. Now let's just do this here now in Windows. Is there a Windows version? Yeah, the Windows version is like, just run this program. That sounds like me. It's like, yeah, everyone knows how that works. 2017, does it still work? Let's try it on Windows 11 here. Reddit wallpaper changer. It's gonna be risky. Do you think it will still work? I guess it's worth a shot. What was Reddit wallpaper changer? Wallpapers and wallpaper random. Auto start and tray. Save. Let's see. Let's go here. All right, let's just try grab wallpaper. Let's go top this week. Let's save it. Monitors. Stretch. Okay. And then I think that should work. Yeah, let's automatically save so we have those in the save wallpapers. I don't think this is gonna work though. I think this is a thing of the past. Yeah, remote. Oh, this might be a Reddit thing. Let's just try wallpapers. All right, let's just try. Let's save. Okay, let's just try. Oh, it's trying to use the API and they locked the API down, didn't they? Oh, that's right. Never mind. That's a dead tool. That's one of the changes from Reddit that pissed everybody off. Back in the good old days when Reddit's API was exposed. All right. Sad face. Ugh. All right. Well, good to know. I'll leave it for now, but probably should update that and say Windows Reddit wallpaper. Actually, I think the whole project's based on Reddit, isn't it? Well, let's look. Yeah, we'll archive this because this is pulling directly from Reddit. Yeah, the API is no longer free. Such a good project. Oh, it was a fun one I worked on. Archive. Well, actually, let's make a note in the README file. We'll just change this up. Notice, Reddit API is closed. No longer works. I think that's probably what we do. Clean up. For those perusing my GitHub, they're going to be so happy I actually updated these old projects. They're going to be like, I don't know why it's not working. And then they'll be like, oh, never mind. This is why it doesn't work now. Because I was even like, why doesn't this work? Archive. That was a cool project. I liked the wallpapers it would grab too. Daily Bing wallpaper's not bad. Honestly, a lot of people, this is actually a Microsoft Store app that's not terrible. Most Microsoft Store apps are terrible, but I bet you it's in my library already. I forget. Yeah, it's Dynamic Theme. It's already installed. So this one's a neat tool called Dynamic Theme. You can, it's all here. There's nothing crazy, but what I love about this is it's so simplistic. You can just say, hey, grab the Windows Spotlight folder, and then it'll just grab it, set everything as it should be, update. You can also Let's see. So that's a lock screen, sure. But daily Bing picture. Maybe it's daily Bing picture I'd go with. Okay. But the cool thing about these is you can autosave them. And which then, when you go into here, we can go into, I think it's pictures, right? Subscribe pictures, Bing images. And then you have all of the past Bing images. So if you get one that you don't like, you can just grab it again. Or you can go into the Spotlight, which these are the things that Microsoft actually does pretty well. Bing images and Spotlight is actually pretty solid. I kind of like Spotlight's jam with like more of a geographic area than the Bing pictures, now that I look at them. So I probably just go Spotlight. And then let's just go bam. Look at that, beautiful. That's awesome. Wouldn't you guys say so? Yeah. That's the way to go. So yeah, that's actually a good Microsoft app. Dynamic Theme by Christophe Lavelle. I think I actually got that name right for once. How about that? All right, we archived that. Let's continue on with our repos. We've also fixed our wallpaper so it's not so bad, since we're going to be living in Windows for a little bit. Probably should fix this, right? What else are we going to use? Battle.net, sure. Brave, I always use from the taskbar. Chatterino, I use from the taskbar. Diablo 4. I have been playing that still. GIMP, I use that for the taskbar. I have been doing a Postgres SQL DaVinci Resolve setup so I can go from my laptop to my inside computer to this computer and edit everywhere. That's been amazing. That's been super cool. I just started that. So if there's anybody doing video editing in the crowd, check this out. This is legit too. I think I set up the Postgres to work off of my NAS and it just loads in. So no matter where I'm at, I can just go through, pull in whatever video it is, and it'll load up all the clips directly from there. Cache location required. Oh, well, I said it was cool, but oh, it's set as V. Oh, I'm mapping the wrong files here. 1 second. Let's fix that. Oh, it's set to X. Oh, I bet you I know what it is. If you ever mess with startup. Put that in my pocket. I hate phones. Phones are the devil. All right. Let's go shell startup. I bet you this is different. That's what it is. Yeah. Let's fix that real fast. Net use. I can't remember. What was it just net use delete? I can't remember exactly. I think I can just do a / delete. So like net use v delete. Yeah. That worked. And then if we pull up our browser, that's gone. I feel like there should be more stuff I want to put in there, but whatever. We'll launch that. And then if we come back into here, we now have X drive instead of V drive. So then when we launch this, it should pull in the proper stuff. So stream loaded up. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, cool. Magical Windows assignment. Why don't you use shortcut? I kind of want to edit that directly where it's at. I think the shortcut was there just because I was messing around with stuff and this was meant, see, I never really worked too much in this environment. So what happened was when I created these shortcuts, a lot of times it was just for a video. So really what this should look like is probably like main pool and then like M for that. Mount anon, probably like volume 2. Oh geez, home. I want to say my write out for this was like Titus or oh heck, I can't remember. I'll come back to it. Main pool is a big one. I think I right now run through SMB and that's slows me down. The big transfer rates between NFS and SMB are rather substantial, so I will fix that. Although I think all this still uses SMB when I'm doing it. Either way, it's fine. It's fine. Splitting hairs. Moving on. Let's keep going on our repos. Ubuntu Titus. I think we can easily delete this one. I think I was doing like an Ubuntu server build, but with them like switching everything to Snap, it's been just kind of a bit of a nightmare. I haven't updated this in a while. I don't remember there being much here. Like, just use Debian. Like, back when there was, I think at one time I was like, hey, Ubuntu actually does a little bit better job with power management compared to the vanilla Debian, but the other problems is it just, I don't know. We're gonna delete it. I understand there's some bad effects. Chris Titus Tech, Ubuntu Titus. Goodbye. We're just gonna fix up one. Debian Titus is fine. That's the one I want to focus on the most. There's also a Fedora Titus. That was, I don't think was this a fork? Oh, that's right. I think I was trying to do Rofi and some other stuff. I'm just going to delete this one too. I think we can get rid of it. I don't... Have I updated anything recently? Last year, 10 months ago. I'm pretty much done with this type of setup anyways, and I don't think anybody was ever using this. So we can delete this one as well. Goodbye, Fedora Titus. You were fun while you lasted. Alright, that one's gone. RIP. Yeah, we only need the Debian Titus, because what I've done is I have gotten better with GitHub over the years. Because I really never have used GitHub prior to doing YouTube, as most of my stuff was sysadmin work. So I never really needed to. But with this, I actually added other branches. So if you ever wanted to go back in time to like an old branch, I have a BSPWM branch that's how I used Debian last year. Like on Debian, when I had that type of configuration, you could come to this branch and use it. But the main branch is where like everything I use for DWM and kind of where it is and like Debian 12. So really the BSPWM branch is just for that. That's the cool thing about a lot of this stuff where I'm like, let's simplify it and put it all into one repo. Now Hyperland Titus, oh yeah. I will come back to this. I'm gonna leave this alone because I still love this setup, and this was nice, especially in the Arch environment. If I was running Arch, I probably still would be on Hyperland. I love the feel of that one. It felt great. Debian Yoru. I want to say that was a copy from. It was an awesome window manager. Yeah, I forked this because I wanted some of the look and feel. This guy did such a good job. Check out this guy's work. Wow, I was super blown away by it. It was great. I love the feel, and I want to say everything was done with awesome, so there wasn't like a huge amount of dependencies. Yeah, see, he labeled out all the dependencies you might use. It was PyCom, WizTerm, which you could switch that out with another terminal, Rofi. Let's see, is there anything else in here? I'm looking through. Pipewire stuff. Faye for the background. Some music stuff. Yeah, it was a pretty light on the actual dependencies here. Although, looking through here, it looks like he might have missed a few. Either way, it's really neat. I love that. I kind of wanted to keep it in there just because I love that look. And I just forked it just because I didn't want the repo disappearing. Yeah, I still need to go through the Debian install script and get that going a little bit better too. OSX KVM. I don't know why I forked this. This is not a good fork. Like, go use the master fork. Yeah, that was silly of me. Like, I didn't contribute or make any changes to it. I think I just forked it to fork. Don't ever fork to fork. That's no good. Have a purpose in a fork, or if like you're trying to save something, or you might come back to it, like that last one I might come back to. This, no, I'm never gonna do anything with this repo. It's just clogging up my repos. All right, delete that. You should start running into a bunch of them. There's probably a better way of doing this. Can I do it through GitHub Desktop? Is that a... Oh, I do have GitHub Desktop. Now, I wonder. No, I can't. That'd be cool if I could just flip through the repositories and kind of clean them all out. But I understand why they don't make this easy. Let's see here. I'm gonna just do this and open them up in new tabs. Let's close to the right. I don't even remember what this is. Oh, I stole his README file. That's what I did. I don't know why I forked it though. Maybe to grab his, I think it was his workflow I cared about because he was updating his master file and I liked it, so I stole it. The beauty of open source. Just a dirty thief. All right, we'll delete this one. Well, that was pretty cool, yeah. If you go to my main page here, I grabbed it from Max. So this whole setup, or no, this was my own doing. I think this was using Wackatime, and that's plugged into all my stuff. I've obviously been using more Windows. I haven't really done anything though. I've programmed for like an hour. But it pulls all this stuff, so it tells you what I've been working on, different projects, and then it labels them all out, which is kind of cool. I do need to label these and describe them a little bit better too. It's cool. So that was Max. All right, clack. Auto jump, I don't know why I forked that one either. Auto jump's amazing, but nobody should be using my fork because I didn't do anything to it. I don't know why I forked it. Maybe I just hit the wrong button and it ended up in here. I don't know. Seems silly. Or maybe I needed it for something. Oh well. I know I didn't do anything special and I didn't spend a bunch of time on it, so it can go in the trash bin. Oh man, PS Doom. I don't know if anybody, I don't think very many people watched that when I made it, but killing Linux processes by running into Doom and then shooting the process you need to kill, that was so cool. I did fork this because I was afraid it was going to disappear. And, oh man, that's a fun one if anybody ever wants to revisit this. Is it Doom? Doom Eternal Linux? No. Why is that up? PS Doom. Oh, maybe I didn't have that. Okay. Well, anyways, it's somewhere on my YouTube page. Let's see. Was that the main channel? Doom. Yeah, Doom System Monitor. 18K views. That was so much fun. So anyways, there's that project. Oh, man. That was a good one. I'm gonna leave in that just because I don't know what's gonna happen with their original one. I actually probably could sync that up. But that was so much fun. Finding that project was like gold. I was like, I want to make sure I fork it just because it might disappear. I was worried. Twitch marker to EDL. I don't really do it this way anymore. I found like an AI tool that kind of does this. So originally I was going to make markers in the Twitch chat, and then I figured out you don't even need to do any of that. I just go through with an AI tool and it scrubs the videos and removes all the silence for Titus Tech Talk. So I'm going to delete this. It was a neat idea, but I ended up going a different direction. I think I was using Recut to do it. Cost me like $100, I want to say. Either way, it makes my editing like way easier to EDL. Yeah, I was rocking the beard. I go back and forth between the beard. Like sometimes I just get super lazy and I'm like, I don't feel like shaving. I'm just gonna grow a beard. And then I'll like get annoyed like a month later and then shave it. So people are like, what the hell? Are you really trying to grow a beard? I was like, no, not really. I've just been super lazy. Oh man, Breeze hacked cursor theme. Why? Oh, why did I fork this? What was I thinking? Just go get I'm behind the main. Why? I don't need that. That's okay. Once this is all cleared up, it'll make for the next programming session so much easier. I'll always try and think of something here. All right. That's good. GIMP help. This is neat for any GIMP users in the crowd. I found this repo and it was a mirror from gimphelp.org, but gimphelp.org went down. And yeah, the bundle download disappeared one day and I was like, oh crap. And I realized there was no backup. So I just grabbed all of their plugins and scripts and tossed them all into here. There's a couple scripts I really like to use. These are, I think, deprecated now, these top two, where the new GIMP 3.0, when it releases, these won't. I have to update them, and I don't know what I'll do there. Probably should just use Photoshop, but I just hate Adobe so much that I'd rather use GIMP. Wait. There's an Arch Titus ISO. What was that? No, this is just a fork from Easy Arch, from EasyNix. Yeah. That was a cool project, but just go download his stuff. I didn't do anything special here. Again, more stuff I don't need. I still like GIMP for the most part instead of Krita. Krita's, I think, more artist driven, and I'm just an analytical guy. Like, I'd rather just see some like ones and zeros than anything else. So whenever I do thumbnails and things like that, I'd rather just script out like a method to just do a drop shadow and a button click. And GIMP gives me that ease of access, so it's more about speed and using like script foo. What are the Twitch tools? Oh, that was the timer and IX. That'd be cool. I might bring that back. Can't remember. Yeah. Term down. Quick little bash script. I think Hikari wrote that for me. This term down's a really neat tool if you have never used it. ZSH. Oh man. Maybe one day I'll go back to ZSH. Windows 11 bypass. I think we can get rid of this one. 11 bypass. Yeah, this is no good anymore. Let's delete it. So many better ways to bypass. Just download Rufus and say bypass my Windows would be the really good way to do it. No real need to do this project anymore. Had a purpose back in the day, but not anymore. Just coming back to here. Linux OS Mac. Oh, this was such a wacky project. This is back when I like one of my first GitHub projects. Oh, it's cringe. It's using like all these add-ons, and I created this script. Oh, yeah. So it makes Ubuntu and its derivatives look like Mac OS, but only from version 20. I think version 22 doesn't quite work anymore. App key is deprecated. Yeah. How old is this pull request? Let's see. It's 2 years old. This guy, when he checks his GitHub, is going to be like, what the F, Titus? Let's approve it. Let's approve this 2-year-old pull request. Oh my gosh. Should be set. Let's see. Oh, this was Git, not set. Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. Approve. Let's approve some 2-year-old pull requests. Oh man, it's gonna make these people's day. It's so great. I'm leaving it. I'm leaving this project. That is hilarious. Oh gosh. Okay, moving on. BSP on KDE. Was I smoking crack when I created this one? Why? Drugs are bad, people. Yeah, I remember doing this. It relaunches and uses BSPWM instead of KWin. Why? Because I'm nuts. So it sets a different environment, KDE Window Manager, to BSPWM instead of KWin, and launches Plasma. I think I was doing a video and then I realized this is the dumbest thing in the world. And then it never saw the light of day. I mean, I'm hesitant to delete it, but it's a terrible idea. However, it did kind of work. Should you do it? Absolutely not. There's like no functional purpose. I just wanted to see if I replaced KWin with BSPWM, what would that be like? Answer, it works, but do you really want to do that? No, you don't. I'm gonna leave it, but just because it's an interesting idea that probably no one else in the world will do because it's just bad. But it does work. Yeah, and you can. It's more of a, yeah, you can. Totally. Create Binance Smart. Oh, geez, delete. If you want to create your own cryptocurrency, back when I was doing that. Ugh. I remember I created that. It got a ton of views on when I had a crypto channel that was just kind of exploring blockchain projects. But it got so aggravating because everyone was just trying to grab my projects and then rip them off and like create their own crypto to scam people. So I got like all these questions from people like, hey, I'll give you $10,000 if you tell me how to do this, this, and this. And I'm like, yeah, you're just trying to scam people. And I'm like, I can't in my right mind tell you how to do that. And then it just, yeah, this project needs to die. No one needs to know how to create their own token. It's best that knowledge stays hidden. Oh, some things are best not left to the public. All right, moving on. Titus Conky. Oh, that was a Conky RC setup. I don't know. Does anybody use Conking anymore? Yeah, scammers do ruin some of the tech. For sure. Okay, there's still some Conky users. I'd love to come back to it. I haven't revisited Conky in 3 years. What are the pull requests? Update, update, update. Let's approve some more 3-year-old pull requests, shall we? What are we doing? Mem freak. I don't know why. I just get a kick out of like these old dead projects and just merging pull requests like 2-3 years later. That's great. As long as there's nothing nefarious in here. Yeah, let's approve that. Oh gosh, it's so great. This person would like wake up to see 3 pull requests come through from 2021. Oh boy. Kill all Conky. Oh, okay. Doesn't need a kill all anymore. Just relaunches. Probably fixed it in a newer release, maybe. Yeah, I might revisit Conky for like Debian Titus, like press F1 to get like a hotkey setup. That'd be pretty cool. Anyways, Rocky install. Oh gosh, I remember this. This was using Rocky as a desktop before they had like a KDE spin, and I enabled all the repos and changed it around. I think we delete it. I never really polished this out. This was right when Rocky released, and it only had enterprise applications. I think we'll delete old Rocky install. I don't see myself ever doing that again. And if I do, it's way different than how it is done in the past. All right. Win 10 checkup. What was this? What was this one grabbing? I think it was checking for... I think it was a security checkup script from the look of it. SAM backups. Okay. Yeah, this is not necessarily bad to run. Heck, it's still probably good. Original work was P's project. It is just checks for privilege escalation. And then, heavily modified by me. I can't remember what I did to it. Anywho, yeah, that was good to do. I think I was just trying to make people more secure when I made that project. I'll leave it alone. I'm not going to update it, though. Fix timers. Yeah. This script fixes high-performance timers to get better performance in Windows 10. Is this HPET crap? No, it's a platform clock. Okay. That's debatable. That's a little misleading, Chris. Requesting admin privileges, shell execute, get admin, and then set platform clock. I think I was doing this for some Hyper-V stuff. And then I was like, hey, this is better performance because it adjusts the scheduler a little bit. Maybe not. Might be thinking of something else. Yeah, this is HPET. I think I was messing with HPET settings. I'm not 100% on this one. That might just be some snake oil crap that I thought worked. I'm gonna delete it. It wasn't definitively a great idea. It's going in the trash. Anything that's like I can't definitively say does a better job, I don't want to lead people in the wrong way. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's kind of BS. I don't know what I was thinking there. Maybe I was just desperate for a video. Back in the day when I did like daily videos, sometimes I would just find stuff and I'd be like, you know what, this kind of works. I've done this in the past, and then I'd get like throw up a video when I was doing like rapid fire. I mean, some of those videos were the best videos I've ever made, and some of them were the worst videos I've ever made. So you get a little bit of a double-edged sword when you do that. Fix network drives. What was wrong with network drives, Chris? Oh, yeah. So this is a neat little bug. Sometimes Office runs into file not found errors. I wish I got a screenshot of the error. This was at my work, and someone was trying to save, and they kept getting, they were saving on a network drive, and then they kept getting this can't save file, and I ended up finding this obscure registry key with enable link connections value that was the cause of this entire thing. So this will fix issues if you ever are in business and you have problems with network drives and they're not saving from people's Office. But it was only Office applications. That was the weird part. Everything else worked on the network drive and you could actually open up files from the network drive. But when you went to save them, it would just error out. This one registry key, enable link connections, caused issues. And by just setting this value to 1 as a D word, I think there's actually a new value that I found. It fixed everything. The alternative solution was to avoid the network drive altogether and just use a full UNC path, which no one does. Everyone uses network drives in business usually. But good to know. If you ever do run into that, that's actually a really good repo. I forgot all about it. Yeah, Microsoft Office. My favorite Microsoft Office bug of all time. When you disable Windows Firewall, it freaks out. Microsoft Office like stops working pretty much. It's like, I don't know what to do without Firewall. Live environment. Oh, I was trying to build a Debian live environment using a different type of project using that. I don't think I'd ever want to distribute an ISO quite like this. I like the script approach, to be honest with you. Although I thought about building a live environment that you could run off a CD, kind of like a Parted Magic style view. But nah, let's delete that. Actually, now that I'm looking at it. Oh, you can't even use UNC Pass anymore. Man, all right. That'd be a great one. Microsoft hates him. With this one registry key, he fixed the entire network drives in Office. Click here for more. That's not quite false advertising, though. It's true in some instances. Oh, man. I love it. Oh, I absolutely love it. All right. Cleaning up the repos. Cleaning up the repos. Maybe we get under 50 repos. That'd be great. Oh, geez. There's still so much more to go. All right. Git setup. Basic set. Oh, this is before I found GH. Tell me this is not use an agent. Oh, no. That's okay. I mean, I kind of like that. But that seems kind of unnecessary for 5 lines. I mean, it kind of spits out the error message when you first set up Git anyways. I'm going to delete this. I feel like I just felt like making a repo for everything. Ha. Let's delete that. All right, web tools. Ooh. Coming back into the old bag here. I bet this you can convert. Find and then using convert. Image magics for the win. Compress images. What am I using for this one? Opti PNG, PNG Crush. It's kind of old. There's better ways of doing this. We can delete these, I think. 3 years. I think there's better ways of compressing and getting rid of downsizing your files. Let's delete that. Yeah, this was from our website when I was converting. I think I was converting from WordPress to Hugo 3 years ago. I've been on Hugo ever since. Hugo is like the jam. Like people using regular websites these days, I'm like, I don't know how y'all do it. That's just insanity to me. LBC export scripts. What was this? Oh, this is back from the library days. You had to release like your tips on certain videos, so this was a script that goes through and releases all of them. Yeah, it's no longer needed. I think they lost that ruling with the SEC, and I don't think is Odyssey still a thing? LBC export script. You used to be able to make like $100 or $200 off of it, but I want to say they all went defunct. If they haven't, they probably will. Oh, it is still a thing. Okay. Oh, man. This is kind of cool, reminiscing. I don't know how much in chat that you guys like looking through my old repos, but I'm like, ooh, this is neat. This one's gonna die in a fire. Let's see what it was. Oh gosh, yes. This is using GDEB. Oh my, no. I think I remember writing this script. Yikes. Yikes. Oh, it's delete. I'm deleting this guy. I think I was doing like a Windows Ubuntu 18 setup video back when I first started, and I am ashamed of this. It's going in, getting 86 for sure. Awful, awful. Looking back on, it's fun like looking back on some projects you open, you're like, ooh, what was I thinking? Win 10 registry backup. What was this for? Oh, that's right. Oh gosh, I don't know if you guys knew this. This one's a really interesting feel. I think I need to incorporate this into my Win utility script. Windows 10 disabled registry backups post 1803. That's a huge deal because you should absolutely be making a registry backup of your Windows. If you ever need to restore from it, it's good to have a backup. For some odd reason, Windows was like, well, we don't like the space of, and backups of registry are not big. They're actually quite small. Let's see if this is still a problem in modern Windows. So it's HKLM, system, current control set, control session configuration manager. Does it still have? Let's check Windows 11. This is back in Windows 10. I thought this was just such a dumb move by Microsoft. I'm kind of curious if it's still a problem in modern Windows. Let's go to System, Current Control Set, Control, whatever. Session Manager, and Configuration. Is there anything else? Configuration Manager. And they got rid of it. For real. Dang, man. That's so stupid. Oh, man. It looks like a spam caller to me. It was spam. All right. But yeah, check this out. This is wild. They did do this. Those big dummies. Just give me the raw file. That's a D word. Like, there should always be a freaking backup of your registry, and they disabled that by default. I do need to add that to my tool, because if something happens with your registry, you're just boned if you don't have a backup, and they disable that feature 1803 past. Yeah, that should work. Yeah, I guess I could rename it Windows 11 and 10. But yeah, that should still work. We can also do a manual backup too. How is that being done? Let's see. Yeah, so this is there. We can just grab this whole zip file. Let's just open that guy up. We'll just extract it to here. So let's just go command line, Win 10, and let's go manual backup back. Privilege. Fine. Close that. You know what? Close your eyes. You guys aren't seeing nothing. I'm just gonna self-elevate. You see nothing. It's fine. It's fine. Let's go into Win 10. Win 10. Let's go manual back. Yes. 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 So with that, it should save into the directory of C registry backup, and then you have your default, your SAM file, your security, your software, and your system. So then if something happens, you can actually revert back to that manual backup. Microsoft did this for safe spacing, so it's 150 megs, and that's how much time. Like, that seems pretty inconsequential in today's world. Why they turned off registry backup to save 150 megs? Just my 2 cents. That's just wild to me. Anywho, that's a fun one. Right click menu. I did it. It's a project called Shell. It's an open source project on GitHub for free. I see if I can't link the video for you. I think should be on my channel. Let's go Shell. There you go. There you are. Should help you get the cool shell if you want it. All right, so moving on. Registry backup's pretty cool. I do need to add that back into my script. I think that's nice. Another open core laptop, the UX303. These are like 10 years old. Like, no one's gonna reference that in modern day. Like, this is a very old laptop now, and you're not gonna be putting open core on such an old laptop. I probably should wipe out those open cores. I'll leave them for now. Minecraft Bedrock DNS guide. So this is a fun one. I have an old Minecraft server, minecraft.christitus.com. Sometimes my kids jump on there, but they want to use their Nintendo Switches. This is a cool idea, but you know, Nintendo Switch has everything locked down, right? You can't add custom servers. So what I did was I set up a Java server, and then I used a conversion. I can't remember what it was called. I want to say it was something with water. I can't remember exactly the name of it. But I used that to convert from Bedrock to Java, so a Bedrock client could join the Java server. And then I made a custom DNS server with this trick that automatically converts the name resolution for all the official Minecraft servers on the Nintendo Switch, and then I redirected those and resolved them to my Minecraft server. So the kids would get it on there, and then let's say they want to go to Hypixel or something like that, they'd click it and it would just redirect to my Minecraft server. And that way you could have custom Minecraft servers on a Nintendo Switch, so all the kids could play on the Minecraft server at the same time on any of the devices. It was a fun project. I think I was going to do a video on it, and then I was just like, nah. So I never did. I was like, nobody cares about that. Yeah. Oh, here's another KDE with i3. I changed the window. I had a time where I was like all obsessed about KDE, and I was like, I just don't like KWin. I'm going to switch out the window manager. That was a bad idea. Windows. Ubuntu remote. That's probably using like, I think it's Vine or something. What was it? Vino. That's what it was. Not Vine. Close. Yeah, that's probably a dead project. Nobody uses Vino anymore, I imagine. And even if they did, they probably should use something else. Cool idea. It did work for the time. But that was like 5 years ago, 4 years ago. No point in it in these days. What else we got here? We're getting close to the end here. Hey, we hit the end. Okay, so scripts. What's this? Oh, this is where I stole like the fancy bash prompt. This is back before Starship was a thing. So Starfish, or at least Starship, I didn't know about, or is really young project. But these were a whole bunch of old scripts from 5-6 years ago. We can delete this. But that's where like my original fancy bash prompt that got a ton of views. I was using a script and I modified it, and I got it from this guy. And I've since moved on and obviously use Starship and some other stuff, and I don't really use any of those scripts, so we will delete that. Python install cab. Modified install cab for Resident... Was I hacking something? What was I doing here? Oh, that's right. I think I was bypassing Denuvo by opening up a cab file for Resident Evil 2 and then pushing that into Wine so I could launch... overly complicated way of getting Resident Evil 2 to work on a Linux box. I think it's like having to bypass anti-cheat, so you had to open it up a certain way. That's hilarious. Yeah, you don't need to do that. I think you can just hit install and play now. But back in the day, sometimes it required a little bit more. That's funny. Okay. And oh man. This is a wild one. So this was a GUI script written in Bash. I took it and then I modified it to use that so it would take the original and then change GNOME to look like Windows or look like Mac, and it would add all the different modules and then readjust the entire desktop. And it was great. This is Ubuntu 18 is what it was meant for. I mean, hell, even Arch, just to tell you the age of the script, YoArt, which Ye's been kind of the de facto standard and Trizen, obviously, even after that. YoArt's been deprecated for better part of a decade now. But yeah, this was a script to change GNOME around to look like Windows, to look like Mac. And this is all done with GNOME with extensions. It, like, looking back on this, what a terrible idea, but it was shockingly how it worked shockingly well for the time. I'm sure this is completely broken and you should never do this, but another fun trip down memory lane. It is getting deleted though. That was just awful. Like, no, just use a different desktop environment, Chris. If I could just go back and shake myself back when I was making this project. I don't know what I was thinking. Yay and Paru kind of go back and forth. Yay's written in Go, so I still like Yay better, but Paru's written in Rust. So there's like a bunch of the Rust fanboys got together and was like, hey, let's bash Yay and say it's deprecated. No one's maintaining it anymore, and it's written in Go. You know, nobody wants something written in Go. Rust is superior. So that's how Paru came to be, but Yay and Paru essentially do the same thing. Yay's written in Go, Paru's written in Rust. They both work fine. So if you're using either or in Arch, you're fine. It's not it's not anything. It's just measuring the size of your EPM. DNS benchmark. What was this? This is a benchmark to find. Oh, okay. What command? I was using dig, wasn't I? Yeah. Dig and drill. Okay. It's kind of neat. If you're on Windows, there's a really cool tool for this. I want to show you. It shields up. Let's see. What was that? grc.com. If you're really interested, they have a really neat tool. And I want to say this is for Windows users. Maybe it was a DNS tool that they had. Maybe it's spin right. No, that's for secure erasing of drives. Shields up. They had a DNS tool as well that was pretty awesome. No. Security, utilities. DNS benchmark. Oh, this is a cool one. So if you ever were like, hey, what is the fastest servers near me? So it'll take like Cloudflare, Level 3, Google, you know, all the major ones we use, like 8.8.8, 1.1.1, 4.2.2.3, all the different ones, and then it throws them all in there and it benchmarks all your DNS servers. And if you want to get the absolute best, fastest internet possible, you want to supercharge your internet, use this DNS benchmark tool, and then it gauges latency, and then it also gauges speed. So then you can get and figure out which DNS server you should be using and which one actually gives the highest performance. You can use OpenDNS with it, a whole bunch of other stuff. I threw them all in there and just let it run. And then I'm like, okay, for me, I think it was the third server of Level 3 that gave me the fastest response. So it will resolve DNS or the name like google.com to the actual IP much faster. And it's a good way to make your internet much snappier. Even though it doesn't really change your speed, it's just able to resolve things a lot faster using this little benchmark. So go to grc.com/DNS benchmark.htm. Really cool. I don't know, you could probably do the same script for that, and it might be this script right here, the DNS benchmark script, because I remember I was doing a bunch of benchmarks, and no, Cloudflare was still there. So Cloudflare was still there. I was checking all of those, and it would go through and drill them all and then spit out the query times. So for Linux, you might use my script. If you're on Windows, you can use this nice little GUI tool by GRC. Either or. That's a cool deal. I don't remember. You do need to have, I think I recommended drill when I did this. So I would install drill for that, or you could use dig. It'll also use dig if drill's not available. And then it'll spit out and say, hey, here's the total domains, here's the best ones that you should be using, and then you just adjust your DNS settings and your gateway accordingly, and you're going to have faster internet. And things will resolve a lot quicker. I probably should run this. It's been a while. I think I was going to do a video on that. Or no, I think I was at work. A client was reporting slow internet, and then I think it ended up being DNS, and then I was like, I'm just going to really make it feel extra snappy for them. So then I did a huge benchmark, and I found that, and then I changed it around, and they were like, oh my God, the internet's so much faster. But the funny thing about that was, I want to say they had a bad local DNS server that no longer existed. So it was failing, hard failing on one DNS, and then once it failed, it would go over to the secondary DNS, and then it would resolve the web pages. So everybody was complaining of slow internet, and it was just from a bad DNS server being in there. And then I went through and not only changed that, but referenced all the ones externally, and man, it was so much faster. It was like 100xing the internet speed for them, even though all it was doing was just resolving names properly. Yeah, so kind of a cool deal. I mean, personally, I like level 3 the best, but I'm in the States, so yours is probably going to look a little different. You might be on Cloudflare, you might be on something else too. That's why I'd say just benchmark it. Use that tool, benchmark it, figure out which DNS server is the best for you, and then go from there. Well, with that, guys, I'm going to shut it down for the day. We've been going for about 2.5 hours. Thursday, I'm going to get back into the programming type of thing. I might throw something at the beginning of the stream too. I kind of like doing like a tier list or something fun on these streams, as I think a lot of people love that, and it makes for some great YouTube comment, because man, people get you know, any kind of opinion like that usually is great for just engagement in general. So yeah. All right, y'all. Take it easy. Have a great one. See y'all in the next one.